Jesus once again is speaking about the Spirit who is to come after him, who comes after Jesus has left us, and he continues the work of Jesus in the church. Jesus, when he came not by himself, but he came with the Holy Spirit, and the Spirit was the power of God working in him to perform miracles and all the other things he did, healings, exorcisms. It was by the power of the Spirit. And the Lord does not leave us orphans. He does not leave us by ourselves, just as Jesus was not by himself, but had the Spirit with him, accompanying him, working with him, so the same with us. The Lord sends us the Holy Spirit to be with us, to work alongside us, to be the power behind everything we say and do for the Lord. And he teaches us. He teaches us. And this is a teaching that St. Paul gives to the Athenians. He's in Athens. He's got an escort because once again, the previous place he was at, there was trouble. I think it was either Thessalonica. I think it was Thessalonica or Corinth, one of the two. And preaching successfully, and people made a lot of trouble for him, and so he had to leave. And here he is in Athens waiting for Silas and Timothy to join him. And he's spent time looking around and then speaking to people in the marketplace. And he's been approached by the Epicureans, followers of Epicurus, and by Stoics. And they want to know more. They're very interested in new ideas, and they want to know more. Now, the Epicureans, they were very much averse to, and their teaching spoke about being, trying to avoid discomfort, pain, that sort of things. And so they looked for pleasure in life. And if they believed in God at all, then God would be a distant God. And the Stoics very much tried to, intellectuals who tried to live a life of virtue and according to nature. And they kind of believed that God was in everything. They were pantheistic, or at least everything was filled with God's presence. And so when Paul is here preaching to this council of the Areopagus, and he's preaching and he's addressing the issues that they've brought up. But there are issues that we have as well, because often we can feel that, we can feel that God is distant. If he exists at all, he is out there somewhere that really he isn't paying any attention to me. And he's just kind of started the world and said, get on with it. And that used to be the way I thought before my conversion experience. God, distant, didn't really care. As long as I went to Mass, that was the important thing. And then you'd get to heaven. That's what I believed at the time. And certainly avoiding pain at any cost. So Paul addresses that. Because he speaks, what's he say? He talks about God who is, in fact, not far. They believed he was far. He's not far, he taught. And it is in him that we live, move, and exist. Our lives, he holds us in being. And he can't be distant and hold us in being at the same time. And he can't be ignorant of us if he holds us in being. If he holds us in being, he's the one who, every cell, every particle of our being is held in being, exists because he is thinking about it. And so there's nothing in your life that he is not aware of. Even to a single hair falling, he is aware of everything. And his knowledge of you is intimate, all concerning. What is important to you is important to him. And he uses this quote from one of the Greek writers, we are all his children. And so he then goes on to speak about because God is concerned with our lives, then what we say and do has ramifications, is important. And so this fleeing from pain, we have to actually turn and face pain. We have to deal with difficult things in life. And I for one try to avoid any kind of conflict, and it doesn't help, because then the problems just mount up. And so as Christians, we shouldn't be people who run from pain, run from difficulties, flee from our difficulties, and look for other things to escape. We shouldn't be into escapism. As Christians, we should be people who face reality as it is. Jesus said, "I am the truth." He sends us the Spirit of truth to lead us and to teach us. And therefore, you and I should be known as people, disciples of the truth. And so we face the truth head on, not to have an explosion, but to face the truth, and using the wisdom of God that He gives us through His Spirit, gift of discernment, wisdom, knowledge. Using these gifts of the Spirit, we face the truth and we overcome our difficulties, always in love. And so here he speaks of that judgment. One day we'll be judged according to how we have lived our life. Have we fled reality? Have we fled the truth? Have we fled the life? Or have we turned and faced the truth and lived our life in its fullness? Not the fullness that they speak about these days, which is usually drunkenness and all that sort of stuff, but in the fullness of life that Jesus intends to give us. So God is near. And for the Stoics who felt that God was in all things and was part of nature, that creation was God itself, he speaks about them and says, the God who made the world and everything in it is himself Lord of heaven and earth, and does not make his home in shrines made by human hands. He's made creation, but he's not one with creation and part of creation. He's created it, but it is separate from him. He holds it in being, and he knows about everything that exists, but he is not one with creation as a New Age would believe, as a lot of Eastern philosophies believe, that God is in everything. No. He created everything. He holds everything being, but he is not one with everything in the sense that everything that exists, the physical, is God. So the Lord comes. He speaks to us. He speaks truth into our lives. And the truth is that you are loved by God, that he is close. He knows you, everything about you, and loves you.